Hello, I'm Paul Bulmer from Bryn Action Group, and this is John Preece, who's going to talk about his early days when he started work. So if you'd like to tell us about your experiences of that, John?
Yeah, I went to work for Mr. Evans in Gascon Farm, and as a milk delivery boy and helping him a bit in the butcher shop. He had a butcher shop in 45 Bryn Street. So I was working on the farm, delivering the milking the cows in the morning actually, then delivering the milk, and then working whatever I was needed around the shop with him. And I did that for, well over 12 months. And then he offered me the opportunity to buy the butcher shop and the milk room from him. Of course, it was immediately after the war, but there was very tight rationing on the meat. So it was a bit of a burden for me, really. I kept it on because I had a lease on his shop for 45 Bryn Street for 5 years. And while the milk round, was satisfactory, it was really, burdening my finances. It hadn't been for my brother helping me financially to buy the property, to buy the business, and to my parents mortgaging their home. It was a big thing for them to do because I was 19 years of age. And well, there we are. But I had that experience of the milk round working elsewhere, and then with Mr. Evans and that. So I acquired a business. Well, right. I was there then for. I kept it on for the 5 years, but as I said, it was really a drain on our finances. And if it hadn't been for my parents and my brother helping me, I would never have made a go of it. It was, as I said, a very big thing for them to mortgage their house at their time of life for me to start in business. Right. I was one of 5 children, and I was considered the weakling of them. I didn't have the best of health, and I'm sure my parents thought. And my brother was 8 years older than me, so he did have some business experience up in London. So they thought it was a good chance for me to start off in business and make my way in life. So that was what I did. And can you stop it for a minute, please?
Just do.
Well, 2.5 days a week, really. Wednesday morning and Friday. Friday was a bigger day, of course, you see, because meat was so short, and people didn't have much anything else, really. People weren't starving by any means, but as regards meat and even milk was rationed at one time. And my mother used to clean the shop then after closing on the Wednesday and on the Friday. And as regards making a living, it was just impossible to make a living on the meat one. And I was really struggling. But of course, there were a few other shops there as well. There was Georgie Davis next door. He had a big grocery shop. He did quite well, I think, George. And he had his wife in a shop with him. Then just further up into Bryn Street, about 48, 49, I suppose, was the number. There was a Mrs. Martel, and she had a little shop there as well. And in fact, her son, Yayan, used to help me on the milk. When I had to be in the shop on a Wednesday and Friday, Yayan Martel used to finish the milk round off for me. There was Edwin, the paper shop. Well, he didn't have a shop really, just to deliver the papers. on every day of the week. Quiet man, nice short, inoffensive man, but he'd get go about his papers, and everybody knew him, and that was it. Down the bottom then, in Tillat, or Varty Grove, as it was named eventually, there was Mrs. Jones the barber. Well, Mrs. Jones the barber, apart from having a barber shop, Mrs. Jones the barber, as she was known as, she had a little sweet shop as well, and incidentally, and it's just by the way, while somebody came into a shop one day, and I recently got married, I can't recall who the bride was, but she had a wedding album, and in this wedding album there was a musical box that played "Here Comes the Bride," and that always stuck with me. And eventually, when we got married, we had the same kind of thing, and we've still got that wedding album.
Lovely.
Yeah, and whenever we have visitors who don't know very much about us, who want to know our past, my dear wife gets a coin and she turns the musical box, and it plays "Here Comes the Bride." While we're down in Tillhatter, I can recall occasion when we had a lot of floods, and the floods with houses on the right hand side. I don't know really know the numbers, but the water came right through the houses and out from the back and out through the front. Down in that area again, the English Baptists had a chapel. That was their first chapel in Bryn. It was where those big houses are now on the left-hand side. That I always considered a boggy area, but there's some nice houses there. And there we are. Of course, eventually the English Baptists then moved up. They acquired an old air raid shelter on the top of Baldwin Street, and they had permission, and they altered it, converted it into a chapel, English Baptist, and it was called Shelter, and aptly named, both because excuse me, it had been an air raid shelter. Whether it was ever used, I don't know, but it was built as an air raid shelter, and then of course it became a chapel, and I went to the first service in that chapel, and one time there, and the secretary of that the shelter, English Baptist Chapel in Bryn, was Mr. William Henry Lewis. He eventually became mayor of Port Talbot. Also in that area, on the same side actually of the road, was a hut with a cobbler there. I'm sorry, I can't recall his name, but he was quite good. In those days we used to wear big heavy boots with hobnails on them, like three studs hobnails, and I used to wear them out quite a lot on a milk coat, and he was always shouting to me, "Are your boots ready now for resoling or healing?" That was that. When I finished with the butcher's shop, I concentrated on the milk round. Now the milk round wasn't enough to for a living in Bryn, so they were developing the Sandface estate. So as I was living in Aberavon, I concentrated on developing my business in Aberavon, and particularly on the Sandface estate. And without going into much detail, it picked up, leaps and bounds. I was picking up gallons of customers. Milk round is valued in gallonage, and I was putting on several gallons a week. And eventually, cutting a very long story short, when I did finish on the milk round, I had 4 or 5 rounds, and I employed up to, on one occasion, up to about 10 people. and I was the biggest private milkman in Port Albert. Well, when I closed the butcher shop, I concentrated on the milk round on the Sandfields estate, and then eventually I was picking up so many customers with all the new houses being built there for the Steel Company of Wales, and people who were into the area, that I was able to relinquish the milk round in Bryn, which I then sold to Glenys and Ibron in Penn's Waelod Farm.
That was Mr. John Preece, now aged 91 years old, talking about his early memories of Bryn. This is a long-term project that we are trying to get down people's memories of the village in its early days, and if you would like to take part in this project, then please contact us either through the website or by contacting one of the many members of Bryn Committee that are spread around the village. Thank you very much.